We've all been there. That critical moment when you need to send a message, make a call, or look up directions, only to be met with the most frustrating words in modern life. No service. These dead zones, whether on a remote highway, out on the water, or deep in the countryside, are the last frontier of digital disconnection. But what if they could be eliminated entirely? SpaceX is embarking on one of its most audacious missions yet, not to another planet, but to the phone in your pocket. This is the story of StarLink Direct-to-Cell, the plan to end mobile dead zones forever. The core promise of this technology is breathtakingly simple. Seamless, global access to texting, calling, and browsing. Whether you're on land, a lake, or coastal waters, the goal is to provide a universal layer of connectivity that works everywhere. It's a system designed to save lives, open up new frontiers, and ensure that the no service becomes a thing of the past. This sounds like science fiction, but the first pieces are already in orbit. The real question is, how exactly does SpaceX plan to turn every existing smartphone on the planet into a satellite phone? The genius behind Starlink direct-to-cell service isn't a new kind of phone or a complicated piece of hardware you have to buy. In fact, its greatest strength is its invisibility to the user. The entire system is engineered to work with the existing LTE or 5G phone you already own without requiring any hardware changes, firmware updates, or special apps. The revolution happens hundreds of miles above your head. Let's break down how it works. So, a cell phone tower in space. Basically, each direct-to-cell satellite is essentially an orbiting cell tower. They are equipped with advanced custom-built modems that can communicate directly with standard mobile phones on the ground. It will work with your existing phone, and that is the key. This is the critical part. The technology is designed to be compatible with the LTE and 5G phones already in circulation. It doesn't matter what brand you have, the system bypasses the need for any modifications, making it universally accessible. It will automatically generate a seamless network integration. From a network perspective, the Starlink satellites appear just like a standard roaming partner. When a phone can't find a terrestrial tower, it will connect to the satellite overhead. That satellite then uses a sophisticated laser backhaul system to connect to the broader Starlink constellation, routing your call, text, or data back down to Earth and into the global internet. With the technology defined, SpaceX is now executing a deliberate, multi-phase master plan to bring this cell tower in the sky to the world. SpaceX isn't just launching satellites, it's launching a strategy. The company's rollout is a calculated progression, moving from collaboration to construction and ultimately positioning itself for complete independence. It's a plan that demonstrates both immense ambition and careful, pragmatic execution. The first phase of this plan is all about alliances and approvals. To prove the concept and gain market access, SpaceX forged alliances with a host of global cellular providers, including T-Mobile in the US, Rogers in Canada, KDDI in Japan, Optus in Australia, and others like 1NZ, Salt, Intel, and Virgin Media O2. In the US, the company secured a temporary 6-month authorization from the FCC to begin testing. This allows them to connect approximately 2,000 unmodified T-Mobile phones to the system across more than 24 locations, including tech hubs like Mountain View, California, and Redmond, Washington. The tests are crucial, especially as competitors like AT&T and Dish Network have raised concerns about potential radio interference. The second phase focuses on building the constellation. On January 2nd, the first 6 Starlink satellites with direct-to-cell capabilities were launched aboard a Falcon 9 rocket. Since then, deployment has accelerated. Today, there are already about 650 direct-to-cell satellites in orbit, forming the first generation of the network. But that's just the beginning. SpaceX is seeking regulatory permission to deploy as many as 15,000 next-generation satellites, leveraging its workhorse Falcon 9 and eventually the massive Starship rocket to build out the constellation at an unprecedented scale. This brings us to Phase 3, the end game of a standalone network, where the true ambition becomes clear. In a landmark $17 billion deal, SpaceX moved to acquire a massive portfolio of wireless spectrum from EchoStar. EchoStar CEO Hamid Akhavan recently stated, quote, "The deal allows for the combination of their spectrum with SpaceX's capabilities to, quote, realize the direct-to-cell vision in a more innovative, economical, and faster way for consumers worldwide," unquote. SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell added that this exclusive spectrum is key, enabling SpaceX to develop next-generation StarLink direct-to-cell satellites, which will have a step change in performance. This move was followed by another critical signal. U.S. trademark filings for Starlink Mobile and Powered by Starlink, explicitly covering full-fledged cellular communication services. These aren't the actions of a mere partner. They are the foundational moves of a future first-party mobile provider. This would mean no more SIM card purchases and swapping when traveling. One SIM card, one phone number for the entire world. With the strategy laid bare, the final piece of the puzzle is the timeline when will consumers actually start to see these services come online. The consumer rollout is designed to be just as methodical as the business strategy. SpaceX is phasing in capabilities to manage expectations, prove the system's reliability at each stage, and build momentum toward a full-featured global service. Here is the official timeline for when these new services will become available. In 2024, text connectivity is the first service to be enabled. In fact, through the T-Mobile partnership, satellite messaging is already live, and that network recently expanded its capabilities to support data for apps like Google Maps, X, and WhatsApp. At the end of 2025, the network is scheduled to evolve significantly, with full voice and data capabilities expected to come online. The service will also expand to support the Internet of Things, allowing simple, low-power devices to connect from anywhere on Earth. And this isn't just theoretical. The landmark deal with EchoStar is already set to allow its Boost mobile subscribers to connect directly to this new network, turning a strategic acquisition into a real-world service. As this timeline progresses, it forces the entire telecommunications industry to ask the ultimate question: will Starlink remain a helpful partner filling in the gaps, or is it methodically preparing to become their biggest global competitor? This brings us to the central dilemma. Elon Musk has been careful with his words, stating the service is not meant to replace traditional carriers, qualifying it with phrases like "on day one," and "at least not yet." This cooperative language has been key to securing early partnerships, but come on, and yet the strategic evidence points overwhelmingly in the other direction. We all know what he is doing. He is planning on making SpaceX and Starlink the next big thing. A company doesn't spend $17 billion on wireless spectrum and trademark the brand Starlink Mobile just to be a roaming partner. The moves clearly lay the groundwork for a stand-alone competitive service that could one day challenge the very carriers it partners with today. The vision is bold and the strategy is clear. By creating a cell tower in space, Starlink direct-to-cell technology is not just innovative, it's a fundamental reimagining of mobile connectivity. Through a methodical plan, moving from partnerships to infrastructure and finally toward independence, SpaceX is systematically building a network that promises to erase the dead zones from our maps. The future of global connection is being launched into orbit one rocket at a time, and it promises a world where you will never see no service again. Subscribe to the eSIMstudios YouTube channel for all your technology news and reviews.